Warning, warning. This is a global ice out. Testing the right speaker. Right. Testing the left speaker. Left. Sound successfully recovered. Swan Commander. Connected. And now, the countdown has begun. And now, are you ready for a journey that goes beyond the norms? The Federal Prospects Hockey League just celebrated its 15th anniversary. With a footprint and fan base rapidly expanding, Swan Hockey is now bringing you behind the scenes. Beyond what you see at games. Beyond the arenas. Beyond the crowds. This is FPHL, Beyond the Glass.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of FPHL Beyond the Glass. I'm your host, Eric Swanek, Swan Commander on social media. This is the official podcast of the Federal Prospects Hockey League, and we are joined once again by Danbury Hat-Trick's General Manager, AJ Galante. AJ, what's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? Glad to be back.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun the episodes we've done, so I figured, hey, let's we're gonna run through another playoff preview, playoff review now at this point, and have I don't think that crazy first week of playoffs wasn't on a lot of people's bingo cards.
Well, listen, I got absolutely smoked, and I've been hearing about it from a lot of people. You know, after we did our episode last week, I kind of posted my own little bracket, and I got absolutely destroyed. That's why I don't gamble. I don't do any gambling whatsoever, and that's exactly why. Hey, I stand on it. I stand on my picks. Binghamton, I still got winning it all. They were the only guys that came through for me. But listen, Port, Huron, and Blue Ridge went 3 games, which I had Blue Ridge winning in 3. Could have went either way.
It was a good series.
Columbus and Monroe, same thing. 3 games. I had Monroe winning in 2. So, apologies to Columbus. I underestimated you, I guess. And man, I've been hearing a lot about Athens and PD, because I had Athens sweeping PD 2 games, and which is funny because I think PD has to give a little credit to Danbury, because we have a lot of hat tricks on that team. So I'll say that, the PD hat tricks beat Athens. So you're welcome, PD. But no, listen, I definitely was listen, I wouldn't have been surprised if PD pulled it out, but to beat Athens the way they did, I don't care what anybody says. Nobody saw that coming. So I don't even think I'm sure PD thought they would win, but I don't think anyone saw that series going. And it's kind of like what we were saying last week, a 3-game series. So many things can happen. But credit to PD, man. They proved me way wrong. I didn't see a beating like that coming. So
yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. I mean, like I'm not surprised they won. It's just, but the way they won, right? Because we've been talking about it on the show all season, how like PD was probably a very big underdog. Like, I don't think a lot of people realized how tough their schedule was. They got off to a very rough start at the beginning of the season. That team is a lot better than what their record showed.
Oh, yeah.
And, so again, I'm not surprised, but I mean, 8-2 and 7-2, that was like, no, I don't think anybody really saw that coming.
No chance. And like I said, I mean, I dealt with PD all year. We had a lot of trades back and forth. I love, Coach Graham and Nick Graham down there. Great people. Kevin, one of their, owners. Love those guys. And there's a lot of ex-Patricks down there. So I knew they had a team. It's just Athens this year was seemingly a juggernaut. And that's why we play the games, man. And I did not see it coming like that. So I've been getting a lot of grief, but I still got Binghamton winning it all. But it was a crazy first week, and that's why I love the Fed playoffs. I mean, I'd love to be involved right now, with the hat tricks in the playoffs, but it's kind of fun to sit back and watch, man, because it's been wild.
Yeah, and what's interesting too, so like we've talked a lot about getting hot at the right times, and especially with the short series and just with getting hot for that back part of the season and playoffs. What's interesting is Athens, I believe they've lost, if you take these two playoff games, they've lost 6 of their last 11. Which is interesting, right? So, like, if you cool off at the wrong time, too, I mean, losing 6 of the last 11 and 3 of their wins was against, I guess they match up really well with Monroe. So they were in the last 11, I think they were 3-1 against Monroe. So, like, they've had a rough stretch here.
Listen, all year long, I mean, especially in the beginning of the year, I believe the hat tricks, even when we were struggling, I thought on paper we were a better team than Watertown. However, the first half of the year, Watertown had our number. And you're right. And listen, I'm doing this podcast from my boxing gym. It's like boxing. There's matchups. You could have the best fighter in the world, and sometimes there's just a matchup that doesn't translate for your guy. And like you said, training camp, boxers, we try to peak at the right time, go into the fight strong. Some guys peak early. Listen, Blue Ridge was the hottest team in the league going into the playoffs, and maybe they peaked just a little too early. I don't know, but it makes it, the whole thing is so fascinating, and I'm kind of on the fence how I feel about 3-game series, but as a fan, I love it because you have a lot of Cinderella stories. But as we discussed last week, man, I mean that Continental Division, any team there is a monster one way or the other. That division is stacked. So,
oh no, sorry, go ahead, AJ.
No. I'm saying any team in that division, Harrison said last week. I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah, and like let's not forget too, like, the Monroe series, Monroe Columbus was an upset, right? Monroe was the 2 seed, right? So the 1 and 2 seed are now gone from the Continental. Like, it's crazy like that. And that's another thing we've talked about all season long, was just like how competitive that pod is. And you have these different, with the unbalanced schedule in the league, strength of schedule kind of plays a part, or, creates an illusion. And, and the biggest one we saw is like with, I think the strength, and I think maybe you said it last week, but the strength of schedule really showed in the Binghamton Topeka series, right? That was a clean sweep. And Topeka, Topeka played a lot of games against Baton Rouge, Biloxi, Indiana, and nothing against those guys, just is what it is, right? Those guys struggled this year, and Topeka played them a lot.
Listen, and again, it's
for playoffs.
It's no shade towards Topeka. Like I said, I mean, Robbie Nichols is a friend. I love him. They got a lot of brand name guys on that team, but like you said, man, it's schedule does matter. And I know, listen, it's not their fault. I mean, they're in the middle of nowhere, so their travel, there's only so much they can realistically do that makes financial sense. So I get why their schedule was set up that way, but it kind of reared its head.
Yeah. So it's just very interesting. And I wonder if it's kind of like a little like a load off Binghamton's mind, right? Because like I think that a lot of people would say that Binghamton's toughest competitor would be Athens, right? It's like now seeing them, like that's kind of like a Christmas gift to Binghamton. Like, okay, they're gone, right? And then you have the number 2 seed Monroe, they're gone. And like obviously Binghamton still has to get through Port Huron, which Binghamton almost got upset by Port Huron last year, right? So like let's not dismiss that either, right? But there's just a lot of moving pieces, and I mean, this is the fun part about the 3-game series. I mean, like anything, like literally anything could happen.
Listen, Port is like Port Huron is a team that sometimes you don't know what you're going to get, but you're in a fight. Not literally, but Port is a team that, listen, after we made our predictions last week, I wouldn't have changed anything. I'm not trying to waffle here, but I thought about it. Port picked up some real high-level college kids, at the end of the year. Yeah. And I don't know if I necessarily took that into – I mean, I did, and I wouldn't change my – I really thought Blue Ridge was going to win. But, you really think about top to bottom, I mean, a goalie can steal you a game. Like I said about Dominic Tomei. I mean, the same thing about Cooper and Port. I mean, that kid's a monster. So it's good. Sometimes when you play each other so many times too, like Port and Binghamton has, you kind of know each other. I don't think that series, let's put it this way. I think Binghamton was rooting for Blue Ridge. You know what I mean? I think realistically, they're probably rooting for Blue Ridge, and now they got Port.
Match up better.
That's not Port and Binghamton is going to be an interesting one. But again, I'm sticking with my guns. Binghamton is just so stacked, and it's not just a skill thing. They play hard. They play. They get under your skin. They're 200 feet. They forecheck back. They do it all. So that's why I'm sticking with it. And they have the experience. But when the going gets tough, Bingo's been there before. And honestly, Port has too. I mean, they were there last year, like you said. Anything could happen. I'm still sticking with Binghamton, but I don't think it's not going to be a Topeka series. That's for sure.
Yeah. And you have to, I mean, how could you really not stick with Binghamton? I mean, champions last two had a, 143 points this year. I think, how could you not stick with Binghamton? So, I mean, I got Binghamton as well, but again, we could see, the upset, like, right. Not taking anything away from Port. It's just, how could you not go with Binghamton, right now? But
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I had players from teams that I picked against last week after they clinched, heckling me, chirping me. Thank you. Bet against us next week. Bet against us next week. So no, I'm not changing anything. You know what? Like, if it's a curse, so be it. I'm going with Binghamton. And as far as the other way, God,
that's hard.
How can I go against PD? How can I go against? I mean, I'm picking the PD hat tricks to beat Columbus. Let's put it that way. And you know what? PD again, we did a lot of business together, and a lot of fans in Danbury. Listen, we made deals we had to make. It helped both teams. So I think PD is an extension of Danbury. So I'm going for PD this weekend.
All right. Yeah, that's like that one. That's going to be such a good, I mean, they're both going to be a great series. But there's, like a 3-4 matchup in the division finals. I mean, like, how do you not love that? And, two teams that kind of like, you got the underdog factor there with PD and everything. And then what's interesting too, like Columbus, like we talked about, goaltending could steal a series, and, Babin, big underdog story, right? Like, don't count that kid out for a second of stealing a series. Like, so like it's going to be a good one.
Babin's my guy. I talk to him a lot. That's my guy. I love him. And it's hard to go against Columbus after what they did too. I mean, the reality, and then we forget that Tyler Barrow's the number one point guy in the league. I mean, that's their guy. So it's like that division is so stacked that a 3-4 team is a 1-2 team in the in the Empire. You know what I mean? So it's like, man.
It's gonna be pretty crazy. And
yeah,
Columbus is kind of just like laid low. They've done their thing.
Yeah.
Like, no real like, big extracurricular stuff this year or whatever. Like, like obviously there's, different dramas at different points. Like, they've always kind of just been like marching forward.
They definitely,
they're well run.
They definitely lay low, and man, I'm going for the PD hat tricks. I think they're going to take it ultimately. And man, I'm excited to watch. I mean, I was watching the streams. I had the stream going on my TV. I had a stream on my phone. So I love the playoffs and the Fed, man. It's just nonstop excitement.
Yeah, it really is. And Columbus is going to need the goaltending. I mean, if PD, 15 goals in 2 games. I mean, you're putting up 7-8 goals a game. Like, you're not going to lose. Like, at least you shouldn't, right? It's like, that's going to be like, I know we've talked a lot about defense and defense winning championships and everything right now. Like, and I guess that's what's going to come down to for Columbus, but like, like their PD's offense right now, just with how high it's firing. I mean, you could almost be sloppy defensively and you're still not going to lose. Like, so they got to, Columbus definitely needs to, shut that down quick.
Well, that's where, I think Babin's experience, whether he has the most spectacular numbers or not, he's been there, he's seen it all, really. But then you start wondering, did they score all those goals in the first half? The first round, are they going to have all those goals the second round? There's so many things to think about.
Right? Yeah, because like don't peak early, right? Like what we were saying, like
so it's like, man, look, PD. There was never a question on their skill guys, they're going to score. It's just I didn't think they were going to hold Athens to what, 2 goal. I did not.
4 total. I think it was two each game.
And listen, I don't care what I got heckled badly the past few days, but there's no way anyone predicted the series to go that way. No disrespect to PD. I love those guys. It's just man, PD and Columbus, the more I think about it, it's hard. But I gotta stick with my guns. It's gonna be explosive, that series.
Yeah, I mean, and PD's flying high right now. So like, like we just, if they peaked, like like you're saying, like, hey, hopefully they didn't use up all their goals last weekend. But if they didn't and they're on a trajectory up, I mean, they're gonna be flying high.
Listen, what people don't understand is the confidence factor, right?
Yeah.
Like, I bring back to Danbury. I mean, our last 16, 17 games, we were almost 70% win percentage. We just dug ourselves in. So when the confidence is there, it's not something you could see, like, like stats, but like the confidence and the comfort level amongst the locker room. PD had, like, you see it, like you can see that they have the confidence is built, the comfort, the guys play for each other. They all seem to love each other. That goes a long way, and I think PD right now, they got that inaugural season kind of magic going, man. And it's just they're looking sharp.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, the confidence. I mean, there's no doubt in any of their minds right now that they can go beat Binghamton easily. Right. Or not easily, but I mean realistically, right? Like not like it's gonna be a Cinderella story, right? Like they're flying so high right now, like, and they just proved so much to themselves. Like them going to the finals and beating Binghamton in their minds is no longer like a Cinderella underdog story. They're like, hey, like, yeah, like totally realistic.
Well, did PD play bingo this year? I'm sorry. I feel like
I think they did once. I think they went up to Binghamton. In fact, they may have swept them. Now I want to look it up. I think they may have swept them, or was that?
I don't know. I can't remember because I know we went down to PD this year. Danbury did,
because now I'm.
But no, you're right. Look, if Binghamton handles business and gets through Port, which is definitely, I feel like PD and Columbus are going to have a real entertaining series. I actually think it might be high flying, high scoring, both sides. Where Port and Binghamton is going to be a dogfight. And if Binghamton handles business and they end up with a PD, that's going to be very interesting.
They split in Binghamton. I'm looking at it now. So they split. They didn't sweep them. They shut them out though. That was the thing that was clicking in my head. Like, oh, they did something very impressive. They shut Binghamton out 4-0. So they played up, from what I'm seeing here, they played 2 games in Binghamton. Binghamton won the first one 6-3, and then PD won the second 4-0.
Well, listen, I mean, if you it's like if you put all the names in a hat, whoever comes out of these, division finals, I feel like the finals is going to be great. I mean, even Columbus. I mean, imagine it's Columbus and Port.
And it could be like there's no, like, anything could happen. Like there's 4 really good teams, and just, I mean, they're really, like, these are going to be awesome series.
It's going to be awesome, man. I love it. And I mean, what you look for on paper, I mean, paper only tells you so much, but I mean, it's going to be fun watches. I mean, it literally can go either way. Sticking with Binghamton, though, I just think it's not even so much the skill they have and every, personnel. It's just the experience. I think with a lot of people, I feel like what people underestimate is, guys, teams and players have been there before, because it's like a video game, right? Sometimes you're playing My Career and you're at a pressure spot and your pressure meter goes up, your heart rate goes up. Binghamton, they've been there. You know what I mean? They've been there, and those are those little. But again, Port's been there. Columbus, been there. PD hasn't, but PD is they're riding high. So there's so many factors. So we're gonna see, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, there's just so many different dynamics. Like even look at the coaching, right? It's like Brant Sherwood, coach of the year, right? Then you look at the Continental, Jerome, maybe the most experienced coach in the league, right? Then Gary in PD, ton of experience, higher levels, and he's done a lot of I know he's done a lot of coaching this year with different personalities on his team. And, him and I talked about that I think it was the last episode that he was on, or one of the previous episodes that he was on, in terms of his mentality of working with what he had, with where he was recruiting from and how that was different from previous years. And then you got Matt Graham in Port Huron, right? The last player coach that's been doing something totally unique and been doing an awesome job. So you have 4 different high level coaching dynamics coming into play here too, which it's like one big melting pot, which is really, really cool.
And fan bases, right? Like Port is not a fun place to play. Bingo's not a fun place to play. As far as PD goes, they just right now they have an atmosphere that inaugural season, there's always that boost with fans, and now they're getting confident.
Their crowd was loud too this weekend.
Yeah.
I had the second game on in the car. I was listening to it, and it was just it sounded like an NHL game at times.
Listen, we played them in Danbury. We played them on New Year's Eve, and I would figure New Year's Eve it might be a small crowd, loud down there. You know what I mean? And Columbus, same thing. Fans that have experience, they've been to the top of the mountain, and I mean, you got great fan bases. It's going to be electric, man, and it's really hard to really map out. But I'm just excited to watch and just kind of scout and learn and see what the difference is, playoff wise in this league. What's because next year we will be there. And I want to see what it's going to take to get to that next level.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing, we kind of touched on it before, but the other cool part about this Empire matchup, it's like a repeat of last year, right? These two teams met last year, almost an upset. And, it's kind of it is a rematch there too. So that's another dynamic that's, again, it's just really cool. The playoff dynamic right now.
Port Huron, they're like the junkyard dogs, man. I mean, they're not going anywhere. They're gonna if they are to lose, I'll say this: if Binghamton handles business, what a lot of people think is going to happen, if Binghamton handles business, they're not going into the finals healthy or happy, or they're going to be coming out of a dogfight, and that may also play into the finals because I'm telling you, you go to Port, you play Port a few times in a row. Nobody comes unscathed, and it is a physical. They got what I love about Port is they got a chip on their shoulder. You know what I mean?
They're not going to strike out looking.
Nah, they're not scared. They're not. You know what I mean? They're not scared, and that's what it takes. I mean, I think Bingo's winning, but if we're sitting here, in a week or so and Port advanced, I'm not going to say, oh my God, I'm shocked. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say that.
You'll have to read the fan mail on here.
Well, listen, I've had, shout out to my buddy Noah Robinson, who started in Danbury, and, we ended up making a mutual move to PD. And he said, hey man, I'm going to be honest. We got fired. A bunch of us down here were fired up when we saw your picks. I said, well, listen, I stand by those picks. You guys just proved me wrong. And, that's what's fun about sports.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Any final thoughts, AJ?
Hey, listen, I'm just excited. If you're a fan of hockey, you got to be watching these Fed playoffs, man. It's just that's what I love about the Fed, man. It's just, for better or worse, those 3-game series are wild, and it's you got to leave it all out there. There could be nothing left in the reserve, and I just can't wait to see I mean, I don't know if there's really an underdog right now. I mean, in the Continental, I don't think there's an underdog or favorite. I think it could go either way. I think on paper, Binghamton is the favorite, but I'm telling you, Port is
anything.
Port. It's wild, man. I think Port. Those young D1 guys they got. Cooper the goalie. I mean, old man Graham and Johnson, man, they make it happen when it counts. So. Reggie Millette. I mean, we're acting like, I'm just here talking like it's a given Bingo's winning, but man, Port is stacked. It's just gonna see who's got the dog in them the most,
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be great. If anybody's here for the first time and you're like, what are these guys talking about? Watch the playoffs. It's very, very entertaining, and it's all free. You can watch on YouTube. You can go to the Federal League website and get the sport fee. You can watch these games for free. That's one of the really cool things that the Federal League has done is that they broadcast the games for free. So yeah, AJ, sounds good, and we'll be right back at it next week.
Let's go. I'm ready to go. We'll see where we're going, and I'm excited, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and we'll go over to Dave Jackson now. What's going on, Dave? How are you?
Eric, how you doing?
Doing good. I thought things were calming down.
Oh, we've got, it's playoffs. Playoffs is controlled mayhem. It's chaos everywhere. Just, 4 games in the NHL last night, and none of them disappointed. They kept me busy. There's been times we talked about me being the Maytag repairman and have nothing to do. Well, had my hands full last night.
Yeah,
so
you're paying for that now.
Yeah. And, we had some good hockey this weekend in the Fed, real exciting playoff games. And, we still got another 2 rounds to look forward to. So looking forward to it. Yeah,
for sure. Suspensions from the non-Maytag repairman. What do you heard? Just suspensions, stuff to deal with, the chaos.
You know what?
Chaos a little bit ago. It might be a good
balancing suspensions with common sense reactions and assessing fines is a very fine line. And I don't, I don't take it lightly. I try really hard to do what's fair, to do what's right. And we had an incident, unfortunately, in the Monroe game on Saturday, game 2. We had a player toss a water bottle in the stands. It wasn't thrown very violently. It was tossed, and by the letter of the law, the player broke the rule, and I used some judgment. I was afforded some judgment. It was directly a result of the lack of security behind the Monroe bench. Behind the Columbus bench in the Monroe arena. I watched a half a dozen videos showing fans getting up out of their seat, coming down 5-6 rows, dumping beer on the Columbus players, throwing soda bottles from the stands on the Columbus players. Zero security. There was no security in place. People were doing whatever they wanted and going back to their seats with zero repercussions. I always look at it like if a player were coming off the ice and got punched, I would allow that player to defend himself.
Yeah.
If during the game a match penalty occurs and a fight happens because of the match penalty, we don't penalize the third man in. Even though we shouldn't be jumping in the fight, we don't penalize him for third man in because he's responding to an egregious act. You're not allowed to fight after the original altercation. So if a fight's going on and then you decide you're going to start another fight during that fight, then you're ejected for second fight on the same stoppage. But if the other guy starts that fight, then just because you fought, even though it's against the rules, you're not ejected because the other player instigated it. And I used that logic, right or wrong. I can't sit here and tell you I'm 100% sure that I made the right decision. There sometimes are no right decisions when it's a gray area.
Yeah.
I felt that what the player did was in a direct response, almost self-defense, direct response to having objects and liquid thrown at him. He tossed a water bottle back. Maybe going forward, I need to be tougher. I've had discussions around the league. I've talked to the board of governors, and I might modify my opinion going forward, but I did what I did in the moment, and I believe that had there been adequate security, had there been security personnel or police officers enforcing and protecting the Columbus bench, none of this would have happened. And then that opens a whole can of worms to say, if we are going to tacitly condone that type of behavior, why not send a whole bunch of agitators over to the visiting team's bench to try and provoke them into doing something that'll get them suspended?
Right. Yeah. We're just getting into a stupid category now.
Exactly. And I'm not for 1 second accusing Monroe of doing that, but I'm saying that could be going forward. That could be a strategy. Let's have people behind the visitors bench, agitate them, and make sure there's no security around whatsoever until they do something stupid enough that they get suspended.
Yeah.
And we can't condone that either. So maybe there's no right answer.
This is just this breakdown in the chain before the water bottle got tossed, just the whole situation preventable.
Exactly. And what I will say is I had a long conversation with Russ Perrant, the coach, on Sunday morning, and he assured me that there would be security behind the bench for Sunday's game, and he was true to his word. We had zero issues, and for that I really appreciate Ross. Russ is a professional. He's a good man, and I respect the fact that he did what was needed to put security there behind the bench. So that was great. And then we went on the Sunday's game, hard-fought game. Columbus went up a goal late, shorthanded goal, I believe, actually. And then we had a bit of chaos near the end. Player got boarded into the boards. It was a penalty. 2-minute minor. Nothing more than that. The player was a little shooken up, but he managed to get up and get involved in the scrum. And then, I'm not a mind reader, so I have no idea. But you're on your feet, you're involved in a scrum, and then you decide that you need some medical attention, and you go and park yourself right near their goaltender's crease. Not just any goaltender's crease, but a goaltender that's been known, who's been suspended in the past, who has a bit of a short fuse, but I'm going to go park myself in his crease to possibly elicit a reaction. Well, he got a reaction.
Yeah, goalie has no problem getting involved.
Yeah, and he got a reaction. And I've been made aware of stuff that's been said on the internet that it was a vicious cross-check to his neck. No, it wasn't. It was a push in the upper back with his glove. There was zero need for players' safety to get involved in that. It's not a suspendable play. It's not even a play worthy of a 5 or a game misconduct. In a perfect world, I would have liked to have seen a 10-minute misconduct assessed, and they would have lost a player on the ice for 10 minutes because of the goaltender's actions. But at best, it was a misconduct. Or possibly want to call 2 minutes for roughing, have at it. But for people saying that it rose to the level of a dangerous, violent act, it was nothing of the sort. So I think people maybe might need to look at that in slow motion and basically put things in perspective here.
Yeah, no, crazy weekend there. I saw a lot of it going around on Facebook and everything, and just like I said, I thought we were going to be calming down now because it's playoffs, and obviously playoffs, high emotion, a lot of frustration as well. But I thought we were going to see less player safety and suspensions needed, but guess not.
Yeah. Well, I think for us as a league, we need to be consistent on our building security. We need to set up the framework to where when teams enter an opposing team's building, they're not worried about their own security, having beer dumped on them, being hit in the head with soda bottles. It's just that can't be happening. And we're on it. There's some great discussions happening, and we've made great strides in the last 2 or 3 years. I think we've really upped our game in the Federal Hockey League. I think people that come and watch our games, people that come and play in our league, now realize that we are a serious league and we want to become even better. And I think it's just gonna take things aren't built overnight. They take some time, and I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Yep. And I say suspensions before. I know you didn't, give out any suspensions, but part of the job, right? Just as important of knowing when to give them as when not to give them.
Well, there'll be some fines being assessed. They'll be going out today.
Okay.
As always, we don't disclose the amounts, but there will definitely be some financial accountability.
Yeah. All right. Awesome, Dave. Well, I guess I'll see you next week.
Let's hope so. Let's hope I get nothing to report.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Dave. I'll see you.
All right. Take care.
And that's going to do it for this episode. Let's do our proof of attendance token code. The proof of attendance token code for watching this episode is FPHL. Enter the code at swanhockey.io on the podcast page, and you'll be eligible to receive your proof of attendance token for watching this episode. Codes must be entered by 9 p.m. Eastern the night that this show airs, Wednesday night. Our magic number is 5. Collect 5 or more of these tokens, and you will have access to the member-only chat inside Club Fed in the Swan Hockey Discord server. And that's going to be it for this episode. And until next time, I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you for being the best part of this episode of FPHL Beyond the Glass by Swan Hockey. We will see you soon.